The story we share. How truth, technology, and the desire to be seen are rewriting our lives. Written by Iyabo Bello, prod by Mercy Elroi, and narrated by Joanne. About the author. Iyabo Bello is a tech founder, coach, speaker, and storyteller who has mentored thousands of entrepreneurs globally. From fashion to food tech to founding scalable mentorship platforms, Iyabo's journey is rooted in truth, resilience, and a fierce commitment to authenticity. Her work explores how identity, storytelling, and digital culture intersect, and how we can rise above the noise to lead with purpose. Table of Contents. Everyone wants to be heard. The age of the edited truth. When children become content. The weaponization of the personal AI and the mirage of me silence is also a story becoming the narrator, not the character. The Ministry of Listening Community over Clout. How to Be the Chosen One, Chapter 1. Everyone wants to be heard. It was a Saturday. The 14th of September, 2024. I was in my bathroom. No filter, no perfect lighting, no audience. Just me and a quiet thought that refused to leave my heart. We are all telling a story. Every single one of us. Sometimes it's loud, like a TikTok video that goes viral before you even finish brushing your teeth. Other times, it's quiet. A side comment at dinner, a silent glance in a crowded room. But make no mistake, we're always sharing. And in the age of Instagram captions, voiceovers, tweets, blogs, podcasts, and AI-generated realities, storytelling has evolved into something bigger than we ever anticipated. We've become curators of our own lives, constantly packaging our highs and filtering out the lows. We tell the story of our progress, our pain, our purpose, and sometimes the version we think the world wants to see. But here's the question that haunts me, especially as a mother, a mentor, and a woman navigating both tradition and innovation. When does sharing become oversharing? And who gets to decide? Growing up in Africa, sharing was sacred. We told stories around fires, in courtyards, at weddings and funerals. Each story had a rhythm, a purpose. There were pauses for laughter, for tears, for reflection. But more importantly, there was context. You didn't just blurt out your business. You respected privacy. You feared gossip. You guarded your truth like it was gold. Now, it's different. Today, even my 5-year-old daughter wants her own YouTube channel. She's seen kids with millions of subscribers reviewing toys, baking cookies, or just dancing in their pajamas. And why not? In her world, stories are currency. They buy attention, affection, and sometimes even influence. But as a mother, I'm torn, because I know what happens when stories are no longer sacred, when they're monetized, manipulated, and morphed into something unrecognizable. I've seen businesses built on half-truths. I've watched influencers break down under the weight of performative authenticity. I've met people who have become strangers to themselves, all in the name of branding. And I've asked myself, more than once, what are we doing? Who are we becoming? We live in a world where silence feels like invisibility. If you're not sharing, you're irrelevant. If you're not seen, you're not successful. So we share. We share the job offers, the heartbreaks, the morning routines. We even share our grief in 60-second reels with lo-fi beats playing underneath. But here's the deeper truth. Not all stories are meant to be told publicly. Some stories need time to heal before they're offered to the world. Some stories deserve to be kept in sacred spaces with trusted ears and tender hearts. And some stories, quite frankly, are no one's business. But try telling that to the algorithm. And then there's technology. Let's talk about it. We're in an era where your voice can be cloned, your face recreated, and your digital self manipulated to say things you never said. Deepfakes, AI scripts, bots that mimic human warmth. We're entering a future where truth is no longer something you can see or hear. It's something you must feel. You must discern. So where does that leave us, the real people, telling real stories in real time? It leaves us with responsibility. The responsibility to pause before we post. The responsibility to ask, is this my truth? Or just a version that fits the trend? The responsibility to protect our children from becoming content. The responsibility to stay human in a world that wants us to be brands. So let me tell you the real story. It's not glamorous. It's not viral. It's not filtered. I'm a woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, a coach, a daughter of Africa. I've shared, I've held back, I've been praised, and I've been judged. And through it all, I've learned that the story we share shapes not just how the world sees us, but how we see ourselves. This book isn't just about stories. It's about truth. It's about reclaiming the sacredness of our voices. It's about boundaries, balance, and being brave enough to tell the story that matters, even if no one clicks like. So here we are, you holding this book, me speaking from a bathroom, on a regular Saturday, stripped of titles, stripped of polish, and deeply convinced that your story, your real story, is enough. Let's turn the page. Chapter 2. The Age of the Edited Truth. There was a time when truth had weight, not because it was perfect, polished, or profitable, but because it was real. A child's birth, a funeral, a promotion, a heartbreak. Those stories stayed. Around the dinner table, in community halls, or passed quietly between friends over tea. Today, they go viral. But here's the tension. We now edit our truth. We crop out the mess, filter the chaos, and post the highlight. We are told to be authentic, but only in the most curated, on-brand way. Social media has taught us not just how to share, but how to shape. It's a powerful tool, but it comes with a price. Our truth can get lost beneath the need for performance. Think about it. When was the last time you shared something unfiltered? Let me be honest. I've sat with my phone, hovering over the post button, wondering if what I was about to share would be seen as too much. Would they roll their eyes? Would they screenshot and laugh behind my back? Would they see my tears and think, she's weak? That's the weight of the edited truth. It convinces us that to be seen, we must be spotless. But our most human stories are not the perfect ones. They're the broken, the messy, the awkwardly honest ones. And unless we protect those truths, we'll be living in a world of echo chambers where no one really sees each other anymore. Chapter 3. When Children Become Content. Mommy, can I have a YouTube channel? My 5-year-old daughter asked me this on a quiet Sunday afternoon with such confidence and clarity. It caught me off guard. She wasn't asking to play dress-up. She wanted to go live. And I paused. Deeply. Because behind that innocent request was a growing reality. Children are becoming content before they even understand what content is. We film their first steps, their tantrums, their silly faces. We post the birthdays, the proud moments, even their punishments, because it's cute, it's funny, or it might go viral. But who owns their story? As parents, mentors, and protectors, we have to ask ourselves, are we documenting memories, or are we manufacturing moments for digital applause? What happens to their identity when it's shaped by the expectations of an audience they've never met? My daughter's question wasn't just about YouTube. It was about the future we're building. A future where privacy is optional, where childhood is monetized, and where identity is a performance from age 4. We owe our children more than views. We owe them boundaries. Chapter 4. The Weaponization of the Personal. Not every story was meant for the public. But in a world where oversharing can bring in opportunities, book deals, brand partnerships, speaking gigs, we sometimes weaponize our own pain. Trauma becomes a trend. Authenticity becomes strategy. and we start to ask, is this still my story? Or is it my content? You've seen it. Posts that start with, I wasn't going to share this, but, followed by heartbreak or hardship, only to end with a promo code or a product plug. It's not always wrong. Some people genuinely share to empower others. But we must question, where's the line between vulnerability and manipulation? Because when everything becomes content, nothing is sacred. I've had to learn this lesson myself. There were seasons in my life I wanted to scream from the rooftops, and seasons I wanted to disappear. But the algorithm doesn't wait. The world doesn't always give you space to heal. You're expected to post through it, but real healing is often quiet. And not everything we live through needs to be turned into a TED Talk or an Instagram reel. Chapter 5. AI and the Mirage of Me. One day, someone sent me a video of myself speaking at an event I never attended, except it wasn't me. It was a digitally generated version of me. My face, my voice, my exact intonations. Only, I never said those words. And in that moment I realized, the battle for truth is no longer just emotional or ethical. It's technological. Artificial intelligence can now mimic your likeness, replicate your voice, even write your story. This isn't science fiction. It's today's digital landscape. And in this world, your story can be hijacked. So what do? Do we stop sharing? Do we go silent? No. But we get smarter. We protect our digital identity the same way we protect our home. We install firewalls, not just on our devices, but in our minds. We teach our children the value of their real voice before a bot tries to replicate it. AI might be able to copy what we say, but it can never replace what we feel. Chapter 6. Silence is also a story. In a world obsessed with noise, silence is often mistaken for weakness, ignorance, or absence. But silence has its own power. It is the space where ideas form, where emotions settle, where real listening begins. For years, I filled every gap with noise, speaking, sharing, justifying, until I realized, not every moment needs a microphone. Some truths are nurtured in private. Some healing requires solitude, and some transformations are too sacred for the stage. When we make peace with silence, we stop performing and start processing. In silence, I found my truest self, not the version people followed or praised, but the one who could sit with pain and not panic, who could walk through valleys without announcing it. Silence isn't absence, it's agency. It is the pause that gives rhythm to speech, the rest between notes that gives music its soul. In a culture that rewards speed, updates, and constant presence, silence becomes an act of rebellion, and sometimes an act of preservation. There are moments in life when the story you're living is too raw to be shared. Not because it's not worth telling, but because it's still writing itself. The chapters are unfinished. The meaning hasn't emerged. And sharing too early risks, diluting the sacredness of what's unfolding. Silence taught me to value the unsaid as much as the spoken. It reminded me that being seen isn't always about being visible. Sometimes it's about being grounded, rooted, hidden in the soil while you grow new roots. When you allow silence to speak, you hear things the noise drowned out. Your intuition, your truth, your own voice unfiltered by applause or criticism. The world may ask for your updates, your opinions, your highlights, but you owe it to yourself to discern what deserves to be shared and what deserves to be sheltered. So, if you find yourself in a season of silence, know this: you are not forgotten. You are not irrelevant. You are not behind. You are becoming. And that too is a story, one of the most profound you'll ever tell. Chapter 7. Becoming the narrator, not the character. There comes a point in every journey where you must decide, will you keep reacting to the story being written around you, or will you rise and write it yourself? For much of my life, I played the character, showing up where I was told, adapting to expectations, performing the lines society handed me. I was the daughter, the professional, the friend, the good girl, the strong woman. I knew my role, and I played it well. But inside, something always felt off. Like I was living in a script I didn't write. I had the lines, but not the voice, the audience, but not the authorship. Then one day, it hit me. The most powerful stories are told by the narrator, not the character. The narrator sees the arc. The narrator sets the tone. The narrator makes sense of the chaos. The character reacts, but the narrator reflects. To become the narrator is to step into awareness. It's when you stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "What am I learning from this?" It's when you stop begging for validation and start offering perspective. It's when you stop trying to fit in a role and start redefining the plot. Narrators aren't perfect. They stumble, they doubt, but they own the page. They don't deny the drama, they frame it, and that's the beauty of reclaiming your story. You realize that even the most painful chapters can become powerful if you hold the pen with honesty. Even your breakdowns can be reframed as breakthroughs. Even your silence becomes part of the voiceover. I had to learn that my worth wasn't in how well I played the role people liked. It was in how courageously I could rewrite the role I was born to play. The shift is subtle, but life-changing. You stop letting the comments of others become your inner dialogue. You stop letting rejection write your narrative. You stop handing your power to people who don't even know your backstory. Instead, you step back and ask, what story am I telling? Myself? Whose voice is shaping this narrative? And what would it sound like if I told the truth, unfiltered? To become the narrator is not about being loud. It's about being lucid, clear, intentional. It's about choosing the ending even when the beginning was out of your control. Because no matter how your story started, it's yours now. The pen is in your hand. Write wisely. Chapter 8. The Cost of Being Seen. Visibility sounds like a reward, until you realize it comes with a receipt. In this digital age, we've mistaken exposure for empowerment. We believe being seen is the same as being valued. But being seen is not free. It costs. It costs privacy. It costs peace. It costs the freedom to make mistakes in silence. The moment you become visible, whether online, in your community, or in your career, you become a projection screen for other people's insecurities, judgments, hopes, and expectations. Suddenly, everyone has an opinion about your journey, even if they've never walked your path. Some will cheer. Some will critique. Some will copy you in silence. Others will screenshot your struggle and send it into a group chat you'll never see, and still, you must choose to be seen anyway, not for validation, not for applause, but for truth. I remember the first time I shared a raw, unfiltered moment online. My hand hovered over the post button. My heart beat like a drum. What if they think I'm weak? What if they don't understand? But something deeper said, what if they see themselves in it? What if your truth becomes someone else's permission? And that's when I understood. Being seen isn't just about you. It's about becoming a mirror, a message, a movement. But even then, it comes with a price. You must learn to handle both praise and pettiness with grace. You must develop the muscle to keep showing up, even when you're misjudged or misunderstood. You must build a home inside yourself that doesn't collapse every time the outside world throws stones. Being seen is brave. But staying true while being seen, that's the real revolution. And in case no one told you, it's okay to step back sometimes. It's okay to disappear and regroup. Visibility doesn't always mean progress. Sometimes the most important growth happens in the shadows. Just remember, being seen is a responsibility, but being yourself is the gift. Chapter 9. Community over clout. Influence is not the same as impact. You can have followers and still feel empty. You can go viral and still go home alone. We live in an age where digital validation is confused with deep connection, where likes feel like love, where being known is mistaken for being seen. And yet, some of the loneliest people are the most followed. Some of the most broken voices are the loudest online. Real power, real peace, is not found in platform metrics. It's found in community. The kind of community that checks on you when you go quiet. The kind that prays with you, not just for you. The kind that claps privately even when you don't post your wins. The people who hold your truth when you forget it. The group chats where you're not performing, you're processing. The elders who remind you who you are, even when the algorithm forgets you. I've built platforms, and I've built friendships. One feeds your ego, the other feeds your soul. There was a time I chased the stage, the spotlight, the next viral moment. But I've learned that applause can't heal you. Views don't disciple you. Reposts don't raise your children. What you need is presence, not performance. Clout fades, community sustains. 100,000 followers won't raise your arms when life breaks you. But 2 friends in your kitchen, holding space and holding prayer, that's wealth. That's power. That's God. If you must choose between being seen by the world and being held by your people, choose the ones who see you without the filters. Because when the lights go off and the feed goes quiet, what remains is not your brand. It's your backbone and the people who help you stand. Chapter 10. How to be the chosen one. Many are called, but few are chosen. Not because the others are unworthy, but because being chosen costs something. It costs your comfort, your timeline, your need to be liked. To be chosen isn't glamorous. It's not always front row seats and public praise. It's long nights with no applause. It's trusting a word from God when everyone else is trusting trends. Being chosen is not about status. It's about stewardship. It means carrying vision even when it feels too heavy. It means staying obedient when obedience isn't trending. It means choosing discipline over dopamine. Conviction over convenience. To be chosen is to live with a burden and a blessing. It is the tension between calling and crushing, between divine timing and human doubt. Chosen ones are often the misunderstood ones, not because they're confusing, but because they carry clarity the world isn't ready for. To be chosen doesn't mean you're better. It means you're willing to rise, willing to repeat the hard thing when no one is watching, willing to finish what others only fantasize about, willing to fail forward, willing to walk when others wait. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more performers. It needs more pillars. People who are faithful in silence, steady, in storms, anchored in purpose. Being chosen means you don't just talk about the story. You live it. You bleed it. You become it. So if you've been feeling the weight of your calling, the discomfort of not fitting in, the pull to keep going even when no one understands, that may not be punishment. That may be proof. You are not just called to tell the story. You are called to embody it, chosen to carry it, anointed to birth it. And when it's all said and done, your obedience will speak louder than your platform ever could. Final note, your story is not over. Put the phone down. Close the tab, silence the scroll, and sit with this truth. Your story is still unfolding. You don't need a platform to be powerful. You don't need 1 million likes to be chosen. You don't need validation to be valuable. You just need to show up. In truth, in silence, in strength. There is no expiration date on becoming. No algorithm can define your anointing. No applause can replace alignment. Let this book be a mirror, not a mask. A reminder, not of who you're supposed to be, but who you've always been beneath the noise. The healed you. The whole you. The hidden, holy you. The world doesn't need another curated persona. It needs your courage. It needs your clarity. It needs your realness. So live, speak, heal, pause, rise. Don't. Perform. Be and remember. Your story is not over. It's only just beginning. Thank you for listening. Peace. Iyabo Bello.